Hi guys, if somebody does something good, they deserve credit for that. And while I'm no fan of Mark Francois or his politics in general, what he had to say about what's facing Ukraine at the moment made perfect sense. The Tory MP was in the US recently, where Republican politicians at best are dragging their feet and at worst doing Putin's bidding by blocking aid to Ukraine for its war effort. Francois explained quite clearly what's at stake, while at the same time not wanting to tell Americans what to do. Have a listen.
Thank you, sir. The Defence Secretary has recently drawn parallels with the 1930s. He spoke powerfully at Lancaster House about our transition from a post-war world to a pre-war one. In similar vein, I was part of a Conservative Friends of Ukraine delegation to Congress recently to lobby congressmen to support the aid package. In one such conversation, a Republican perfectly reasonably asked me, why should I tell the people of my district to send their taxpayer dollars to Ukraine? To which I humbly replied, because as a member of NATO, it is ultimately cheaper than sending your sons and daughters. In that context, would the Defence Secretary agree with me that whilst we must respect American domestic politics, it's not for us to tell them what to do, this, again, is a time for the new world in all its power and might to come to the rescue and liberation of the old.
Well said. Once again, I'm not a fan of Mark Francois, never have been, but what he said here is completely correct and he deserves credit for it. If we don't support Ukraine, we'll end up having to send our own troops to fight Russia. Now, some people may disagree with that, but it's countries in Eastern Europe have been on tenterhooks. They're extremely concerned about what's happening, and they believe that now that Ukraine is not getting the support it needs and its forces are falling back and Russia now is making gains once again, that if Ukraine does fall, Putin will not stop there, and he'll focus his attention on other European countries in the east. And then what will we do? We'll end up having to get involved to a higher level. This is a cost. There is a cost with sending aid to Ukraine. We can't get around that reality. There is political pressure being put on governments not to get involved and not to increase aid. There is a cost of living crisis. Many countries are trying to deal with issues like inflation, their own crumbling infrastructure, health services, things like that. But if we don't provide Ukraine with the aid it needs in the long term, we'll end up having to spend a lot more money, as Mark Francois has pointed out, and spend and put perhaps the lives of our own troops in danger. There isn't a way around this. If we don't stand up to Putin, he will continue. And he was given the green light, in a sense, in 2014 when he invaded and annexed Crimea. We stood idly by, and we saw the consequences of that. In 2022, before the invasion of Ukraine, he said, no, I'm not going to invade, and then obviously he did. So he can't be trusted. And you just have to ask people in Eastern Europe what they think, and they're extremely concerned, and they do not trust Putin one bit. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.